welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that is perfectly balanced as all things should be. I am your host, Max Moja, here today to host episode 146, wherever you're listening. However you're listening, thanks for making this part of your podcast experience. I am your host, and I have two other Infinity Bros today with the beautiful Infinity Bros hat with the gauntlet thumbs up. It's Infinity Bro Robbie. Robbie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Really just excited to do another pod with the bros.
And the man behind our social media and the person who has really seen our Twitter reach excellent heights. We're hoping we actually have some new listeners here today because of it. It's Isaac Edlund. Isaac, how are you?
I'm doing great. Nowhere to go but up, you know.
Literally, on this podcast, we cannot go any lower than we've been. Couple housekeeping items. Isaac, you had a child.
I did. Yep. Turning 2 weeks tomorrow. So
wow,
it's been a whirlwind of a holiday season. Just wrapped up my in-laws' family Christmas this past weekend. So yeah, they all got to come and see the baby. And yeah, it was a good time. I am on paternity leave for another couple weeks, which is amazing. So yeah, excited to actually being on this is the first time I've been on a pod, I feel like, for like a month. So excited to podcast with you guys for sure.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we're very excited for you and your wife. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's impressive about having a kid? I've had like 12 hard Mountain Dew Baja Blast. I would say that's more impressive.
In one sitting, or just like over the course of a year?
Over the course of this last week.
Zane's built like 16 Gundams before, so like, yeah, what's so crazy about having kids?
Zane has 74 platinums. Like, you have 3 kids. He has 74 platinums. Who's the real
still
one?
Not as many as Lucas.
Which one took more time?
If this is your first time listening to us, we want to let you know that we are a podcast of 6 separate hosts, friends that share this platform as well as our Twitch, our Discord, and several other areas. You can check the show notes in the link on the bottom, or if you're watching on YouTube, just click the See More Information tab. You will get that information. Also, you can leave us a review at iTunes. Reviews. It takes no time at all. It is not like our rating system in the slightest, but we still love to receive them. And over Christmas break, guys, we received another iTunes review. The title of this says, My Uncle. I'm leaning in. Here we go.
Can't wait.
They say, my uncle is Jarrett, and personally, I think that they do a very good job at making this podcast. Leah or Leah, Leah. Robbie, is it Leah or Leah?
That's Leah.
If it's Leah, people are going to be upset.
Definitely Leah.
We sure? Like, you're putting the house on Leah.
Leah.
Just throw a whole another option in there. Might as well.
Isaac,
I'm a very phonic reader, and I would say Leah.
Yeah, I'm thinking Leah too, but I don't want to mispronounce names. So thank you for the review. It's a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. It comes with several emojis. 3 kissy face heart emojis.
Can you make those emojis for the YouTube channel?
Yes, you bet. Hold on. Here we go. Ready? I need the microphone there.
Good.
Okay, that's 3 of those. Okay. And then you've got 3 hearts, with the smile. This is the hearts with the smile. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
That's that.
I could see this. I could see the hearts.
I could see it. Yeah.
Yep. You saw the hearts. And if you're podcasting, there's nothing better than being told see, and then nothing happens.
You'd always check out the YouTube.
You've got a crown. You've got the rock on emoji. You've got the 2 hands forming a heart emoji. And then you have the silly face with the tongue out emoji. So it's like this. Yeah. Again, great podcasting.
Is it just one eye or is it both?
One eye. Yep. It's the one. Yep. It's the one with the wink. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
Rich history on our podcast. I like to rate these. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 6. Really great review. Really strong review. You're referencing a great Infinity Bro, but here's my problem. It's the people don't get this. Where's the reference to belittling Zane?
Right.
True.
When will these people learn?
Right.
There's 6 of us, and one of us must be torn down. His name's Zane.
You'll never see him. He's does he exist? Is he
hard to say?
That's At this point, I don't even know if he exists. Yeah.
I don't know if he's real though.
If this is your first time listening, there are 6 of us. You can check out other episodes to learn more about them. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about the DC shift that is occurring. We haven't been on since James Gunn took over the reins at DC. To quote me, Max Mosier, the DC universe is in good hands. We'll find out if that statement's true or not. We're also going to talk about Glass Onion, the new Knives Out movie that came out on Netflix, but has also been in theaters for a few weeks. We're going to rate and talk about that. And then we're going to close out with the segment we call Hot or Snot, where we talk about the things in pop culture that are particularly informative or special to us in particular. So we're going to do that. That'll be our show today. It will be tremendous. Before we get into any of that, though, we want to make sure that you're familiar with our rating system that I referenced earlier. We're going to go ahead and put that bumper right here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
Also, when you guys do that now, it makes my life a lot easier on the YouTube if you actually wait like a longer period of time.
How long do you want me to wait?
Just long enough.
Long enough, Max.
Long enough.
10 or 15 seconds. Like, you can cut all this out. Like, this will be perfect.
We're a PG podcast, Robbie, but there are some jokes here, and I'm trying to keep it together. Okay.
Well, this won't be on. I'll cut all this out, but it makes my life a lot easier if I can cut it.
I love that there's other people editing stuff now. Like, I just love that it's not just me doing it. I like that.
Yeah, with video, it doesn't work quite the same. Where it's just like the audio. Like,
it's completely
different.
Yeah.
I need the actual space would make my life easier. Or there's probably a way to do it if I was smarter, but I'm not.
We're gonna give you more space.
Someone's in my personal space. Hey, get out of here! My personal space.
Give the guy more personal space. It's no secret to anybody that the DC universe has been a mess, and it has had some successes, some failures, and some in-betweens. And recently, James Gunn has taken the complete reign over this universe. Obviously, Discovery purchased DC in an agreement last year as the companies were changing hands on a corporate level. And with James Gunn stepping in, there was a lot of immediate shifts that occurred with very jarring consequences. One in particular being Black Adam. So this is going to be spoilers for Black Adam if you haven't seen it. In the post-credit scenes of Black Adam, the Black Adam character played by The Rock is approached by Henry Cavill's Superman, which was from the Snyder Cut universe. And this led fans, including myself, to believe that the Snyder Cut universe was going to be back. And pretty quickly right after, James Gunn came out and essentially squashed those rumors. Cavill himself went online to essentially paraphrasing saying, "I'm not coming back." He lost the Witcher project. He allegedly was skipping out on the 3rd or 4th season. Robbie, what season was that on?
The 4th season of The Witcher. The 3rd season is done.
Forgive me. 4th season of The Witcher to come back and play Superman. And then he loses this spot altogether. And so The Flash has been made. It's going to happen. I would assume it's going to do something to set up this new multiverse universe that James Gunn is establishing. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of intricate details that we can bring up in conversation. I'm not going to get through all those right now because I just don't think it's necessary with how much time has passed. I just have one question. We're going to start with you, Rob, because you are one of the DC fanboys on this podcast. What on earth is your opinion of all this? Do you feel like James Gunn is a good leader for this? Do you agree with the direction he's starting to take right out the gate?
I have had very mixed feelings. For starters, and I don't know if I've actually been on a pod to review Black Adam. It's terrible. 1 out of 6. Probably one of my worst reviewed movies ever. Hated it start to finish. Hated it even more because 2 days before it goes on HBO Max, 2 days before it was announced that it was going on HBO Max, I bought it on Amazon Prime for $25. $25. Okay? 2 days later, it goes on HBO Max, and they didn't like give you like a pre-announcement, like, oh, in 1 week, watch Black Adam. No, there was none of that. I spent $25 on a movie that I will never watch again, unless it's out of spite. Like, unless it's out of like, I spent $25 and I'm getting my $25 and I'm going to watch this again just to be mad.
I mean, a hate watch does sound pretty like appealing. Maybe we stream Robbie watching.
Oh, I would love that.
Watching it at
That's
some
a great idea. Well, we could do that on Amazon Prime with like the watch with people or
watch
whatever.
Party. Yeah.
I hate that movie. I hated it so bad.
So with the shift occurring, it clearly affected your viewing of Black Adam. Am I correct with that?
I mean, I think this news came out. James Gunn canceling everything came out after Black Adam. The effect that it had, and this is the effect it had, is that I gave it a 1.5 to begin with. And then the news came out the Cavill was not going to be back. And I took 0.5 points away from it because 0.5 of the entire movie was just Henry Cavill being there for 3 seconds.
Exactly. Right.
So with that news, like I did take a half point away. I could have given it more points knowing that I would never have to see The Rock as Black Adam again. That could be a positive for me, because for a guy that has spent 12 years hyping up a film to make that garbage and to just pretend to be himself in a Black Adam costume,
to be that mediocre after that much hype,
was the worst crap. And then he's like, I'm training, like he does all these training videos like about like, I'm training to be Black Adam, the hierarchy of the DC universe is changing. Like, you wore a black like full suit the entire time. He showed his muscles once. And I know that's a little thing that I've probably only paid attention to, but it's like, you keep saying that you're working out to be like the best fit Black Adam. It's like, but you were in costume the entire time. And then you attempted to make the same Man in Black joke 3 times, and it wasn't funny once.
You could check out the review of Black Adam. I'll actually put a link in the show notes, and Robbie will put that on YouTube. No, you're good. We talked about this. One of our other Infinity Bros, Mark, who is also a DC fanboy, was much more gracious of this film. I was not around The Rock. I was around the Justice Society.
The JSA was okay. The JSA was okay.
You can learn more on my thoughts on there because I want to keep the conversation going. Isaac, do you think this is a good thing long-term for DC that James Gunn is taking over? Because obviously he's got this experience with the MCU. He built out of nothing the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was a major producer on the Infinity War and Endgame saga. Do you think this is a good thing, or do you think this is just another roll of the dice that DC is hoping works?
I think it's both. I mean, DC obviously, and WB more so than DC. I mean, DC is in WB's precarious hands, unfortunately, but WB has been just screwing this up from the beginning. And sure, they've come out with great projects along the way, but they've never had one person that was like, all right, this is what we're doing. This is the vision. This is how we're going to complete this. The dice roll is doing, like, that's the good choice, is picking somebody to do this moving forward. The kind of the disappointing part is that they're cutting out, because of that, they're cutting out a lot of these parts of the DC EU or DCU, whatever they're calling it now, that have been shining spots, such as Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, I mean, you guys loved Man of Steel, and everybody was super jacked about Man of Steel 2, which was announced, and that Cavill was going to be coming back to that role before James Gunn took over, and now that's gone. You know, like, there are some good shining spots that are not going to be coming back with James Gunn. So the interesting part to me about that is that, like, I totally understand if you're wiping the slate clean, starting from square one, all that stuff. The interesting part is that James Gunn has said that there is going to be stuff that remains. Part of it is his stuff. Peacemaker, Suicide Squad.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
All of that stuff, which is like, if you're starting clean, like, why? Why are you keeping that stuff specifically? Is that going to be your building blocks moving forward? That just didn't really make sense to me at all.
Just want to hit on that really quick, is that there was reports that because gosh dang it, what's her name? The director for Wonder Woman is
Patty
out.
Jenkins, yeah.
Patty Jenkins is out.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this whole talk that then Gal Gadot was also out as Wonder Woman. That's not true. So it actually came out. So James Gunn was doing a Q&A with people on Twitter, and he said, we've never announced that Gal Gadot's done as Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
So Gal Gadot, by all accounts right now, is still in the picture.
Yep.
And then
that
there's
was all
also
speculation, right?
Right.
There's been a lot of speculation flying around.
A ton of speculation. And James Gunn has been very transparent about answering questions that he can answer right now if you go follow his Twitter and his Instagram or whatever. And that's more for people like us. But people that are just going to go to these general movies, they don't care. So I think the biggest issue that they have with this is, how do you reset everything and let everyone know that it's reset and that it's not connected and that we're moving on with a fresh new coat of paint, sort of say here. So he has an uphill battle. And I think James Gunn, like Max has said, is DC's in good hands. They're in good hands now. They have not been in good hands since Max had said they were in good hands. I would say they're in good hands now.
I really thought when they had Alan Horn in there, who was with Disney and who was very influential in making sure that Perlmutter didn't get his way with Feige. I really thought that was it. And I said that, and I obviously was very wrong. I mean, DC is they're such a mess.
They're a mess. Absolutely.
I'll be very clear here. I think James Gunn's the right choice, but James Gunn's in his own way here. If he sticks with the Peacemaker people, he cannot do this. And the problem is he can't not do it because his wife's one of the people. So he's damned either way, and this is a really big problem for James Gunn.
So why do you not think he can
be the cornerstone of this universe? I'm sorry.
Oh, you think he's going to use Peacemaker as a cornerstone?
I think that's his only bet.
I took Peacemaker as this is a show, like that's the show cornerstone, and maybe like Suicide Squad will build off.
The Suicide Squad would be technically the bigger project, and that's fine. But my problem is that I just think people you don't even have to have Man of Steel connected. Just bring back Cavill. Say, hey, we're doing it again with you. We're going to do a different movie, and the audience is. Guys, the audience is smart. We can do this. We can have a Henry Cavill Superman movie that's different than Man of Steel. We can do this, guys. We are capable of this. These are. I just don't understand. He is so it for the role. He is so Superman, and it doesn't make any sense that they're moving on from him.
And I was a fan of Zack Snyder and some of the things he did. A lot of things I wasn't a fan of, but I was not a fan of how he treated Superman. He continually, and I'll make this comparison, he treated Superman how Marvel treats Captain Marvel. She comes in, she does her thing, she saves the day, and she flies away. That's how he's treated Superman. Besides the Man of Steel movie. The Man of Steel movie was a really good movie that for some reason got hated on. But Superman as a character is a loving, like peaceful, gentle soul that requires a high level of acting, in my opinion, and they never used Henry Cavill for that. Go watch if you haven't.
He has the range of like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you wait. Watch Man from U.N.C.L.E. and try to tell me that Henry Cavill can't act. That guy is a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people have only seen him in these small roles where he grunts and he says like these one-liners like The Witcher and Man of Steel. The dude is a great actor and has that freaking smile that he is the perfect Superman, and they've wasted him. And
I disagree on the Captain Marvel comparison, but that's for another time. But I do agree that he has the acting chops in regards to he can act. He's got the physique. He's committed to the character. And I would agree with you that where Snyder dropped the ball is he made Superman in the one flaw in Man of Steel, even though it's one of my favorite movies ever made, is that Superman treats this as a burden. In the comics, Superman does not treat it as a burden. To quote Vision in Age of Ultron, it's a privilege. He looks at this like, this is an honor that I would get to fight on behalf of these people. And I'm a Christian. So like the other part for me that really I love and resonates with me is he is very much like Jesus Christ. If you look at how he's written, how he came to earth, etc., there's just a lot of comparisons that I would give to Jesus Christ in that. And so I just love Superman as well as that character too. But no, I my fear with James Gunn, guys, is that he's going to be so tied to this like quirky Peacemaker Suicide Squad group that he's going to lose the forest for the trees here. And yes, we want to make DC more fun and goofy, and I know he will make that a priority. But we have said on this podcast since the inception, there's no reason the Justice League shouldn't be more popular than the Avengers. They have a better roster.
Absolutely.
They have a better core. If you just get the right actors in there, you've got 20 to 30 years worth of projects. Oh, by the way, they have the first multiverse saga that matters with what they were planning to do anyway. So you can still do that if you're DC. You could still call everybody back that's old. And I mean, Marvel's going to beat them to the punch probably with this Kang Dynasty stuff. But like, DC can do it, and I think it's going to mean a little more when Michael Keaton comes in than when Marvel brings back Robert Downey Jr. I really hold to that. And I know that that parallels with The Flash. We'll post this in the show notes too.
Frustrating. It's so frustrating that Michael Keaton's
that has Michael Keaton in it. It has the female the Supergirl, excuse me, that I don't even know what it doesn't look anything like Supergirl from the comics, but it's neither here nor there. And it's Ezra Miller, and you'll see a link to this in the show notes. Robbie, your comparison, we talked pre-show, is this is CW. Can you kind of tell me a little more of that? Like, what are your thoughts on seeing this?
I my whole thoughts on this whole Flash thing and why, like, there's all these properties that they decided that they're not going to move forward with, but they're going to move forward with the Flash with like Ezra Miller, who's become this polarizing figure who's done a lot of seemingly terrible things. And we're moving forward with that, but not with these other projects. And my only assumption is that they got Michael Keaton back, so they have to move forward.
I think it's the money. I think they already filmed it, and they're like, we're going to lose hundreds of millions if we don't release this. We have to try.
And like my thought, and I think Max, you hit on this earlier, is that they're going to use this to reset everything.
Sure.
That's my assumption. It has to reset everything, and it has to do a good job explaining that. And then we just move forward from there with the James Gunn universe. That's the only reason I see why they're moving forward with this movie, because they've already proven that they're willing to just forego millions of dollars and never release a movie rather than release something that they don't think is like quality. Like
they did that with Justice League.
With Batgirl.
Batgirl too.
They
no,
decided
I'm with you. I'm just saying, like,
which makes no sense because they have HBO Max in their pocket. They could just be like, here's Batgirl. Like, don't even have to promote it. Just put it on there. It's there. It's already filmed. It's done. But they're like, no, we don't want to put this. But then they put out Black Adam because The Rock's in it. I really don't know what's going on. I wish. Here's what I would be totally okay with. DC, just stop doing anything for a year. Nuke everything for a year or two.
Agreed.
And then come back.
And that's the problem with James Gunn. The only problem with James Gunn is he's too tied to this Peacemaker stuff, Robbie. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
If they looked at this and said, look, guys, here's what we got to do. We're going to release The Flash, and at the end of it, we're going to tell you right now, it's going to have an ambiguous ending because, one, we don't really like Ezra Miller, and we're definitely not bringing him back to play this character.
No,
you guys all know this, right?
Not.
So let's end this all with a bang. Let's all have an understanding that Ezra Miller's not coming back for this. Even if you guys love this movie, we're not bringing him back. We're just giving you a heads up. This is a finality ending. Let's celebrate Michael Keaton being in this movie. And let's, you know what? If the next rendition of this 10, 15 years from now goes around and Michael Keaton's still able to walk, then we'll talk about that then. But you've got to understand, we got to nuke this thing. And I don't understand how some of it can stay and some of it can't. I don't get it. And
it doesn't make sense.
And why is Henry Cavill on the chopping block? Right. Why is that the guy that's got to go? It's just not fair.
Yep.
And I hate it for The Witcher because, like, I don't like The Witcher, but he was invested in that property and he sacrificed it to come back. Probably because of The Rock. I think The Rock really.
So, well, there's another, like, he's also doing
The Rock leveraged
Warhammer
and said, I'll have your back. And I think even The Rock couldn't save this.
Yeah. So he's also doing the Warhammer show, which is Henry Cavill is the nerdiest dude in the world. That is also the most attractive man in the world. That gets to just do these amazing projects. Like, he's my man crush. So Warhammer is his number one thing. Like that's the thing he always comes back to in any interview he's ever done. That like gets to a nerdy point where he's like talking about The Witcher, talking about Superman and comics. He can come back to Warhammer, and that's his thing. So I think a lot of news has been said that he left The Witcher to become Superman again. I think actually bigger for him is that he did it to go do the Warhammer bit. And I don't think any of us
piece of perspective. I like that.
I don't think any of us are big Warhammer guys. Jarrett might know a little bit. I know a very little bit about Warhammer. But I think that's actually his main reason. It does suck that we're losing him as The Witcher because he's also a guy that loves The Witcher content. Like, and I'm probably the biggest Witcher guy in our group. But Henry Cavill like knows everything about The Witcher, and there was reports that like he was like getting mad at people season 3 because like they wanted Geralt to do certain things. Geralt is the character he plays in The Witcher, and he was like Geralt wouldn't do that, and they were like, well, we're gonna do it anyway. So there was like reports that he was getting mad at people, even though he knows more about that character than any of them. So I think there's some miscommunication on why certain things are being done, but that's just a little insight to the world of Henry Cavill.
For his sake, I hope that's true, because for him to be done being a character that he has put so much time and investment and that he actually loves being a part of, for him to quit being that role, to come back as Superman, which I think he also really loves, only to have the rug pulled out from under him would just be tragic. So, and one other note too, in that series of tweets that James Gunn tweeted out, he said that Henry Cavill would be replaced by a younger Superman, but he also said that they're leaving it open for him to come back in the future. So it's possible that we could get him back as a multiverse, Superman, or possibly. I mean, I know you mentioned this, Robbie,
to do that.
Right. It's going to be a while, but a Kingdom Come Superman, or
exactly.
Something.
That's exactly I was gonna point that out. It's like he is the perfect Kingdom Come Superman.
Right. Just put some salt and pepper in that.
And James Cameron keeps sharing photos of Kingdom Come. I think that's where he wants to go, and I don't think Henry Cavill is done. I really don't. I think this is all kind of a little bit of a smoke show. Like, I think it's true that he's done being our like movie to movie Superman, but I think he's going to be back, kind of like RDJ. Like RDJ is going to be back. Like,
yeah. We're going to pivot real quick. So we're recording on January 1st, and this literally just came up 3 minutes ago. So we're going to not report on it. We're going to discuss it right now, just because it's news and there's a chance that there could be some consequences to this. So Jeremy Renner is in stable but critical condition after a weather-related accident. This is coming January 1st at 11:11 Eastern. He's hospitalized in Reno, Nevada on January 1st after suffering an accident plowing snow. A statement from the actor's representatives indicated that Renner is in critical but stable condition with injuries suffered after experiencing a weather-related accident while plowing snow today. There's no word on the actor's current health other than the rep saying his family is with him. He's receiving excellent care. It sounds to me like critical condition is something happened to his body, but he's not dying. I'm having a difficult time processing that, because stable but critical condition is an interesting way to phrase that. Jeremy Renner, obviously, who plays Hawkeye in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the changing of the guard has kind of already started to take place with that character, ironically. What are your thoughts on this? Just immediate thoughts. Robbie, go ahead.
First, like you said earlier, we are Christian on the spot, so prayers to his family and him, and
absolutely
for a speedy recovery. Like, that's terrible. I like, it's weird. You read it and it's like, it's a plowing snow accident, which it's like, was he plowing snow? Was someone else plowing snow and he got in the way? Like, so that does make me worry that it's a body part, I suppose. But hopefully he's okay. Obviously can't really speculate on anything besides that. I hope he's okay. That's really sucky to hear.
I mean, yeah, as somebody who lives in Minnesota, we all live in Minnesota. Like, it's no fooling. Like, get caught up in these plows, or you do something, you make one stupid move with a snowblower, like, things could get bad. We can't speculate past that. We don't really know. And we won't probably know until tomorrow at the earliest on what's going on. But yeah, thoughts and prayers to Jeremy Renner, man. That is just brutal. And Reno, Nevada, like we were talking pre-show about that snowstorm. Like it's hitting Reno. My goodness gracious.
Reno, Nevada.
Isaac, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, basically what you guys have already mentioned, just thoughts and prayers out to him and his family. Hopefully he pulls out of it okay. But I mean, critical but stable condition is basically just hubbub for saying that he is in the hospital. Like that basically means nothing. So we'll see what
why
happens.
Why didn't you say that right out the gate?
Well,
Isaac?
wait,
You're a nurse.
Isaac is a nurse. We got to preface that if you haven't listened to our pod before. Isaac is an actual nurse.
It's basically speak for we don't really know what's going on with him and he's in the hospital. Like that's press speak for that's what's happening.
So Isaac, if I'm plowing my snow, whatever. Someone gets stuck in the blower. I put my arm in and it tears my arm off. And I come in and I've lost a lot of blood. The newspaper calls you and they're like, is he dying? Is he alive? What would you say?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't because that's HIPAA.
I don't care. I don't care. You have to say, how am I doing? Answer.
Okay, so technically, everybody that is admitted to the hospital is basically in stable condition because you do the stabilization when they come to the emergency department. And when they get admitted to the hospital, generally they're stable. Like, I mean, there are definitely exceptions. There's definitely people that are not stable. But if that's the case, they're probably in super duper critical, a situation. And this could be the case. Maybe it's not.
He got it.
Again, it's
good information. Like that's good information.
That's really good information.
Right. So
you're saying no matter what, if you've made it to the hospital, you're stable, right?
Basically. I mean, that's the first thing we do in the emergency department is we stabilize people. So like if you're admitted to the hospital, there's a good likelihood that you're stable. So saying that somebody's in critical condition and stable, it basically just means they're in the hospital. So I can't really speculate much past that. But again, terrible when something like this happens, and hopefully he makes it through because I mean he's still a part of the MCU and he will definitely have a role in Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars coming down the road. So
that's great.
Well, and obviously too, like those things, he got airlifted, so like clearly it was bad enough for him to get airlifted.
That definitely means that's a bigger deal if you get airlifted.
Yeah, so something is very wrong with him, and it's very sad. So we will legitimately be praying for Jeremy Renner on that.
Yeah,
and he's good. He's a dude, a much less like a human being outside of a great actor, right? So like, we're definitely not making light of that. But Robbie, great point. Like Isaac is a nurse and works in an ER setting, so like this is really good feedback and information to understand on that. So check socials to keep posted on that. So let's transition over to Knives Out, the new movie Glass Onion on Netflix. Before we review this movie, Robbie, it's tough to make transitions from that, guys. We're sorry about that. It's really jarring. Forgive us if that's a jarring transition, everybody. But we just found out about it, so I had to like keep going. What was your thought on the first Knives Out movie, Isaac? What would you rate the first Knives Out movie?
I absolutely loved Knives Out, the first one. So I actually came really late to that one. I think the first time I watched it was either late last year or early this year, honestly. And I think my recollection is foggy on this, but Netflix obtained Knives Out and then obtained it wasn't a Netflix movie when it came out initially, Knives Out, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe that was on Amazon Prime that I think
it came out in theaters and stuff like initially. Like I don't think it was a streaming movie.
I don't remember.
But I think it was pre-COVID too. It was a while ago. But anyways, so I just recently watched it and I was like, man, I missed out. Knives Out is a fantastic movie.
Sure.
Absolutely love the, kind of murder mystery vibe it's got to it. And it was something like fresh and new that we hadn't seen for a while. So I thought Knives Out was fantastic. I gave that one a 6 out of 6. And I was very much looking forward to Glass Onion dropping on Netflix.
I give the first Knives Out a 5 out of 6. I really liked it. I didn't think it was a masterpiece like a lot of people thought it was. I did think there were some clunky, slow parts in the film. It's incredible acting, and the ensemble is what you come for, right? And Rian Johnson is a very jarring writer and director, obviously, given his history with Star Wars. So, with Ryan Johnson, you're just going to get a unique telling of a story, which I really appreciate with him. So 5 out of 6, the first one, I really, really liked it, but it left me a little, just a little more would have been nice.
Yep.
I have watched it multiple times and that hasn't changed since though. So Robbie, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of there with you, Max. I really enjoyed the first Knives Out movie, and I've only watched it once, and that was when I first saw it on whichever streaming service it was out on. But I give it about if I remember right, I give it a 5 out of 6. It's a good mystery solver movie. Like, I don't think it's like world changing. Like, there's lots of like mystery solving movies out there. I don't know why it caught on as much as it did in pop culture, but for some reason it did. It's a really good movie. It's enjoyable. Like, I recommend it to everyone else. I've never watched it twice though. I don't know if I would enjoy it as much the second time, because then the twists
Spoiler
are
alert for
gone.
that movie too. I think Chris Evans being a villain was a huge draw for that movie. I think
Chris Evans being a villain was one of my favorite parts of that movie. It was.
I think
he was.
I think
great.
that's why that became a pop culture thing. To be honest, Robbie, I think it's.
But now he's been a villain in a few
ensemble.
things, so it's like not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
But
Gray
it was
Madness
right
here
after.
with Ryan Gosling.
That was right after.
It was right after all the hoopla, right? So it's like
Right.
Captain America was at its peak, and I think culturally, I think that's a huge reason. Glass Onion, the follow up to this, and they are making a third one. They have a deal with it already. Allegedly. I don't have the source on this. However, I read that Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig both received $50 million
Oh, you're going somewhere else
to do these movies.
Yikes.
See,
which is crazy to me.
I thought you were going to go with that Ryan Johnson hates that it's called Knives Out.
Yes, I do know that. That is confirmed. He has said he hates that it's a Knives Out mystery. He wishes it was just Glass Onion.
Yeah.
I think Netflix has to do
that.
I
agree. I thought that was kind of silly.
I think they have to call. I think a Knives Out mystery is fine. I think they should just call it Glass Onion, and then on the poster,
like a little part says a Knives Out.
Yeah,
film.
it doesn't need to be in the title, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Written and directed by Ryan Johnson, obviously. The storyline follows 5 longtime friends after being invited to a Greek island home of billionaire Miles Braun, their friend. All 5 know Braun from way back and owe their current wealth, fame, and careers to him. The main event is a murder weekend game with Braun to be the victim. In reality, they all have reasons to kill him. And also invited is Benoit Blanc, the world's greatest detective. This stars Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, Madeline Klein, Noah Sagan, Jackie Hoffman, Dallas Roberts, and a bunch of interesting cameos. So I'm not going to give those away because I do want to do a non-spoiler version for those that do want to check this out still.
Wild cast.
The cast is great, and I think the cameos are really clever and fun too. So we're going to do the non-spoiler part 2. I will give a bumper warning when we go into that, and you can skip ahead as well. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can scroll ahead. I will go ahead and start with you, Robbie. What's your non-spoiler review of this movie, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery?
Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I give it a 5 out of 6, just like a Knives Out. Extremely good movie. Like, this is a perfect Netflix Friday night movie to watch with your significant other or whoever your other might be, or if you're like a certain Infinity Bro, a non-other that you just might want to watch a murder mystery movie. It's a solid movie. I recommend it to everyone. I think it's a movie that everyone should watch. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't change or come up with anything that's new or sparkling that changes the game of mystery movies. But if you enjoy like mystery games while growing up, then you're definitely going to enjoy this movie. I would say it's a must watch.
I'll go next. I'm echoing you across the board, Robbie. To me, it's very similar review to the first one. I had a lot of fun. I really liked it. I recommend people watch it. It's not the greatest mystery movie ever made, but I don't think Ryan Johnson's setting out to do that. I think he's setting out to tell mysteries in a unique way, which I appreciate. In particular, in this movie, there's something that happens midway through the film that changes the direction of how you look at this movie, like most mystery movies anyway. And I appreciated that twist. And I'll leave it at that. And I'm going to change my rating. I'm going to give this a 5.01. I'm going to make it just a hair
It's one
better
up
than the first
Robbie.
one. I'm going to give it a hair
Interesting.
better.
Wow. Oh,
5.01 second
0.01
decimal to
better
really
than me.
drive some of our listeners wild.
Oh.
5.01. I'm going to give it just a hair more than the previous one. I like this cast better. I think Craig really thrives better in this cast too than he did with the first one. The first cast was very uppity and you could sense him judging them. In this one, I felt like Craig really showed his anxiety and angst around solving this mystery. And I loved that. And I love how they played the COVID stuff in it as well. We will talk about that in the spoiler stuff. So Isaac, are you ready to go now? Okay, good. You had a little interruption. I'm sorry. Isaac, what is your non-spoiler review of this movie?
Yeah, I absolutely loved Glass Onion. I was really, high anticipation for it because I loved the first one. And you already mentioned that Chris Evans being a villain was one of my favorite parts of that film. Absolutely, absolutely loved that. And that's what's one of the strongest things about Glass Onion as well, the cast. And I think I echo what you say there, Max. I think the cast puts this film above Knives Out, in my opinion. And Knives Out was one of, the first murder mystery type shows I've watched in a while. And I don't watch that many movies. So probably one of the first things you could consider mysteries that I have watched. And this one, I love a movie that I'm sitting down to watch and I can't guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think Rian Johnson did a fantastic job with both of these movies of keeping the audience guessing, keeping us in suspense of what's happening next. Daniel Craig is fantastic as Benoit Blanc. Miles Braun, or Edward Norton as Miles Braun, was the perfect villain, guy that you wanted to hate from the second he appears on screen in this film. And man, I thought the cast made this a fantastic movie. I give this one a 6 out of 6 as well. Absolutely loved it. You will see this on my top 6 list of movies in 2020.
Really? Watched 6
You're going to put this on your Stan Lee's?
I've watched a few more than 6. I might have watched like 8. So
yeah, 8.
Pause real quick. Right. This is a great plug, Isaac. Thanks for doing that. Hey, if you like us and you like this episode today, make sure you subscribe. Check us out if you're on YouTube. Click that subscription button. Leave us a comment. And make sure that you tune in next week. We're going to have the Stan Lee's. It's our annual thing we do the first week or two in the new year. We rate everything from the previous year. We do our top 6 lists, and we do an homage to Stan Lee, the creator of the Marvel's cinematic universe and comics and of itself. So make sure that you're checking that out and subscribing so you can check out that content, Isaac. Thanks for doing that. Additionally, we're going to go ahead and transition to our spoiler review. So if you do not want to be spoiled about this, and I highly recommend if you haven't seen this, you skip ahead because this movie is not worth missing out on. You won't want to know some of the key details we're going to speak on. So this is your spoiler warning.
This is
Prepare yourself.
an Infinity Bros
Prepare yourself.
spoiler warning.
How long do we wait at? Robbie, we good now?
I think this is good.
This is good. Robbie said pre-show we needed to wait longer for that video editing. So that was us going a little longer. Let's talk about some of the big twists. Let's talk about the first one. Dave Bautista being the one that died. How shocked were you that he died?
I was very shocked, honestly, because I thought for sure Miles Braun was going to be the one that died.
For sure.
Like this, he set it up for Miles Braun to be the one that died, and they actually have to figure out his murder. And then all of a sudden, Dave Bautista dies, and we're all like, "Wait, was that supposed to happen? Was that okay? All right, let's roll with it." So that was very unexpected in my opinion, and I loved it. Also, Dave Bautista, dude is a great actor, but like the fact that Rian Johnson is putting a men's rights influencer in his movie, just how perfect of timing is that when the internet is blowing up over Andrew Tate and all the stuff that's going on with him? Dude. It was just like, I saw this and I was like,
chef's kiss.
Yeah,
great move.
Just
great move.
Wow. Incredible.
Let me talk on that point real quick while we're here on it. I think Rian Johnson really did a clever job of identifying all the key people that were under attack or being corrupt or being exposed for being corrupt during COVID-19.
Absolutely.
So you've got the actress, you've got the politician, you've got
Elon
the scientist, Elon Musk, you've the Twitch guy. You've just got all these different people, and what is the unique common bond of all of them? They're all being paid by one guy. And I really appreciated how Rian Johnson addressed that. I really appreciated in the ending that Rian Johnson made a mockery of the billionaire and said, like, no, you're an idiot. You're not smart. You're a fool. You just have a lot of money and gadgets that make you look smart. Your glass onion is just a glass onion. It's see right through. We can figure it out. You put everything right in front of us. And how LeBlanc figured out. Sorry. I just realized I realized I called him LeBlanc, like Matt LeBlanc from Friends. It's Blanc. I'm sorry. Not
Fair
LeBlanc.
enough.
Sorry.
Matt LeBlanc.
When Blanc figured out the original mystery that they were going to be there all weekend to do, I loved that. I just loved that it was nothing.
Fantastic.
That it was
favorite.
like,
that was my favorite scene. Like, it was a good movie, but that was my
so
favorite scene. I was like, that Daniel Craig out here, just James Gunn the bit.
Edward Norton is just pissed. He's just like, oh my, I can't believe this guy.
Edward Norton is just like, son of a bee.
The fact that they got Edward Norton to come and act in this movie, I thought was fantastic.
Can I touch on that real quick? Edward Norton, for whatever reason, is one of my favorite actors. Which is the whole reason, it's the whole reason, like, I don't like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, is because I love Edward Norton. And I don't know why. It's just something about how Edward Norton is. I think Edward Norton has...
because he's a total douche in real life, and it translates to the screen.
And here's the thing. This might be blasphemous to some. It's the Kobe effect. He is so committed to his craft that he is a literal douche, and you probably can't get along with him. But, like, you appreciate how he does his craft. And that's my feeling with Edward Norton. He has the Kobe effect. Like, I love Kobe, and Kobe is my favorite athlete of all time. I probably wouldn't get along with Kobe at all because I like to sit around and play video games and be lazy. But Kobe's my favorite guy. But Edward Norton is probably the same way. He's like this great actor that takes acting probably way too seriously.
Yeah, I think Edward Norton thinks he's a little better than he is, and I think he does a great job.
Absolutely,
this
that's
role.
part of the bit, though, right?
There's a difference though with Kobe. Kobe had the right to think that. I don't think Edward Norton has had the level of success that.
I mean, the reason that Edward Norton...
It's the same idea.
The reason that Mark Ruffalo is the MCU Hulk is because of Edward Norton. Because Edward Norton was like, I'm getting what I want out of the Hulk. And if I don't get it, I am out. Yeah. So, like, it was his own fault. He could have been the MCU Hulk if he wanted to.
Yeah, but that's not artistry enough.
Yeah, whatever. I want to talk about Janelle Monáe. I thought she was just absolutely killer in this.
Yeah,
she plays Andy Brand and her twin cousin. That was a really twin sister. That was weird. Saying a really, really rough show for me, guys. Between LeBlanc and twin cousin,
Max, explain to me how a twin cousin comes about.
I don't know.
How does that work?
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Too many Canada Dries for Max tonight. Yeah, I really thought she carried a ton of acting prowess in this, and her ability to shift between these two characters was really great. In the first third of this movie, I 100% believed she was conniving, filled with revenge. I thought there was something more to that, and to see this character basically be acting this whole time was really great. The reason I don't give it a 6, though, to me, is Kathryn Hahn was so underutilized in this. She just doesn't get used in this movie. And Kathryn Hahn's one of the best actresses in Hollywood right now, in my opinion. And I want to see her do more roles.
Oh, man.
She's the only reason I'm okay with an Agatha Harkness.
We're in a clash here, Max.
Do you not like her?
I don't like Kathryn Hahn at all.
Oh, I think she's tremendous.
In every single project that she's in, I hope she dies.
Oh,
Like,
couldn't disagree with you more.
I don't like Catherine Hahn at all. I just look at her and I'm just like,
oh my gosh.
I hope your character passes
She
away.
plays a pretty good like villain-y type person because
like
you
a
look
really
at her and
B-word villain.
There's
Like,
something
I really
you don't like about her. That's why she was good as Agatha Harkness, and that's why she's good in this movie.
And
as
I
well.
just
Kate
want her
Hudson
to
was
die.
also brutal
want
in
her
this
to
movie.
die.
If you talk about a character that I wanted to die, Kate Hudson. I
Well,
was like,
yeah,
oh,
that's
Kate Hudson played
Kate
the
Hudson.
role.
Kate Hudson is the perfect
role.
person to play the role that she played. That was like perfect casting. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Bernie
Kate
J. was
Hudson,
brutal.
Dave Bautista, like, and another note, Leslie Odom Jr. as Lionel Toussaint. This guy, I don't know if you guys know his background. He started out as a singer. Like, that's what he sings. And then he was cast in Hamilton in the Broadway musical, and that just like slingshotted him.
Right. That's
Like,
where I know him from.
He is very talented, and he is like tearing stuff up now. So
I was
love that
looking
they
at
casted him in this movie.
Isaac, I love that you brought that up because I've been looking at him like since I watched Glass Onion. I've been like, why does he look so familiar? And I didn't look him up, and I was like, that's it. It's freaking Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's an awesome, very talented person, and his voice is like, I'm really sad that he didn't sing in this movie, honestly, because his voice is probably one of the best voices out there currently in music. So,
well, really
love that he casted in this movie.
Really good movie. We wanted to touch on some of those spoilers that if that was tickling your brain, we wanted to touch on that. I thought it was a really good film, great ending, and I think there's a couple actors that could have got. I think Leslie Odom Jr. could have gotten used a little more too, Isaac. I think he was a little underutilized.
Yeah, it's tough because like when you have such a dynamic cast like this, like it's hard to split up the time between everybody equally. Like some people are going to shine.
Jessica
more
Henwick
than
was
others,
in this
so.
movie. Jessica Henwick.
Yeah. And
she's
was
Colleen Wing. Like
she's
a tremendous actress and basically was behind the scenes side role. There's just Rian Johnson had a specific vision, and I'm glad he executed it. To me, those are the things that separate.
Some of the random cameos too you mentioned.
The Ethan Hawke one really threw me for a loop.
I was like, wait, what? Is he going to actually be a part of this movie? Nope, he's not. He's just some random dude that's like taking him on the boat.
Hugh Grant being the lover of Benoit Blanc was also
wait. Well. So I'm looking at the cast right now, and it says Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Did I miss?
No,
where was he in?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So here's the trivia behind him is he's in every single Rian Johnson movie. So his role in this one was he was the dong. Every time the dong went off, he was the one that said dong.
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious?
That's hilarious.
That is the best news I've heard today.
Yeah, the other one that I thought was hilarious was Serena Williams. Like, he just like had her on like for a lesson, and she's sitting in the background. You think she's like a poster, and then all of a sudden she moves and it's like a screen, and she's like being paid by Miles Braun to do a lesson, and he's not even there. He's just like, I'm paying Serena to just do whatever, just be on call, Isaac, basically.
I'm part of that. I thought that they were going to connect that to like them talking about things and her and Serena Williams seeing something they were talking about, and I thought they were going to tie that into the mystery like at the end. So like I was waiting for them to be like, because when Miles Braun like burned the note or whatever, I was thinking Serena Williams somehow like saw that and like they had video of it, and she was gonna like pop up, and they were gonna like that's how they were gonna figure it all out.
Yeah, that would be wild. Yeah, just a lot of just real fun, quirky cameos in this movie.
That's great.
Just there's so many great little things about this movie that all blended together just made for a really, really fun experience, honestly.
Yeah.
So we're closing in on now about an hour and change. So we're going to do quick hot or snot.
Oh,
this conversation is taking way longer than I thought we would. So
good conversation.
Isaac, go ahead and tell us your hot or snot list as we transition over to that.
Hot or snot?
All right, guys. So I've got just one snot that I'll do first, and then I'll go over my list of hots. But the snot is I started watching the new National Treasure show that dropped on Disney Plus probably a couple weeks ago now. It's called National Treasure: Edge of History. this is garbage. It's an awful show. Gosh, do I even give it I didn't really give it a shot because I watched an episode and a half and that was enough for me.
Give it a rating.
I'll give it a 1 out of 6.
Ooh.
It's bad. It's basically like, so if you guys don't know, the listeners, I'm a huge Nick Cage fan. Love National Treasure 1. Even National Treasure 2 has some fun moments. But the reason those movies work is because of Nicolas Cage. You take Nicolas Cage out, and I was still like, okay, well, it's still a fun like treasure hunting show, maybe. It's just garbage. It's like Disney Channel National Treasure without Nick Cage. It's terrible. So yeah, I was really disappointed. I didn't expect it to be good. That's another note. I thought it was going to be bad, and it very much exceeded my expectations in being bad. So yeah, very bad. 1 out of 6.
Congrats, Disney. You had a layup here.
Congrats, Disney.
You're telling me you couldn't get Nicolas Cage back for a Disney Plus?
That's all you had to do. The show didn't even have to be written well. As long as you have Nicolas Cage in it, I would have watched it. So
Nicolas Cage will do whatever you want him to do. Just give him a jar of peanut butter and he'll show up.
Good question, or good point. Yeah, he definitely was not offered a role in this because he would have showed up if he was. So, but yeah, that's my only snot. Very bad.
What if he's wait, Isaac? Sorry to interrupt you here. Mm-hmm. What if he's at the end of the season and you haven't given enough chance? What if he's in there somewhere?
I have to trudge through all of the crap that is that show to get to my Nicolas Cage.
Hey, Isaac, I got you. I'm gonna look it up.
Look it up for me. Yeah, exactly. That way I don't have to put myself through hell.
Here we go.
Oh gosh, yeah. So, but anyways, like I don't know if you're into like the Disney Channel vibe. I guess maybe you could enjoy it, but like I was hoping for at least some good like treasure hunting stuff, and even the stuff that she does is does not measure up, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my snot. A couple things on my hot. Well, Max is looking for that. I've been burning through
season 1. He's not in season 1, but apparently they want to bring it back for season 2.
Gosh,
season 2.
Are they going to make me watch through?
They're going to make you watch season 1.
A season and a half.
Season 1. No, just skip season 1.
Just skip to the parts that Nick Cage is in. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do.
You have a Nick Cage shirt. You should do that.
That's true. I'll bring that in. Ripped plug. Next podcast.
Ripped plug.
Ripped ambassadors. Check out Ripped Apparel. They're awesome. All right, nice hot list. I've been burning through a ton of 2022 movies, and Top Gun Maverick, fantastic movie. I have to give it a 6 out of 6. There's like nothing that I can find bad about that movie, honestly. Like it's so stinking good. And
whatever football scene they were doing, I find that bad, but that's it. I just couldn't understand.
You're nuts. That scene was awesome.
You're
nuts.
I was a little confused and like you thought it was weird.
We're playing offense and defense at the same time.
The best that's one of the best parts of the movie. No. What are you talking about?
Of how they play that game.
Max, we get it. You just wanted to see Miles Teller without his shirt on.
Miles Teller
Miles Teller is going to be our next Superman.
Awesome.
I'm calling it now.
Just
Miles
so good.
Miles Teller, next Superman. Calling it now.
Anyways, Top Gun Maverick, fantastic. It's definitely going to be on my top 6 list for 2022. Second movie that I'm going to put on my hot, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Finally got around to watching that. Absolutely fantastic movie. Again, that one is probably also going to be on my list. There's so many good ones that came out, and I'm just now getting around to watch them. So at least they'll be fresh in my mind for when I make my list. So that's nice, I guess. But yeah, it'll be tough to pick between all of these, especially the shows. There's so many good shows. And then my number 3, and this is probably my highest one, is Marvel's Midnight Suns. Picked that up when it released a month and a half ago now. And this game is tailor-made for me and Zane. This is a strategy, turn-based combat with card drawing, and I absolutely love it. It is fantastic. Will say the graphics look like PS3 graphics. So if you're going in for a graphic masterpiece, it's gonna disappoint you.
You telling me Marvel failed at graphics again?
Unfortunately, yes. What they lack in graphics, they make up for in. Marvel's great at making video games that feel like comic books. They don't feel like movies. They don't feel like like real life. They feel like they're comic books. Marvel's Midnight Suns feels like you are literally reading a comic book.
That's a good sell.
That's
That's
a storyline. So I absolutely love that about it. Absolutely love the combat, the gameplay. That's what I'm just getting drawn to with this game. Going to be finishing it hopefully in the next few weeks here of 2023. So that's my highest hot. Recommend that. Go check it out. Robbie, what are your hot snots?
Oh, we're going to me. I'll do snot first. I have one snot because we already hit on all my other snots, which is all the DC news. And this is a really out of left field snot, but I finally got around to listen to the Lord of the Rings books on Audible. Mainly because we drove back for Christmas, which is like a 5-hour drive for me. So I got 10 hours into Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
And I got into this chapter, the Tom Bombadil chapter.
Yes.
Okay? So we're listening to this, and I'm like, this character is freaking fantastic. If you want to get into the lore of Lord of the Rings, he's essentially a god. Okay? But Peter Jackson filmed scenes with him for Lord of the Rings, but then cut him out because he didn't progress the story, which, sure, that's accurate, but snot on you, Peter Jackson. You made a very, very good movie, but
Robbie,
you didn't have Tom Bombadil, and that makes me sad.
I knew there was something I liked about you, and that's it. Nothing else about you I like, but that is the part about you that I like. Tom Bombadil is like one of my favorite parts of the Lord of the Rings book, along with the epilogue of the hobbits going back to the Shire and.
I'm not there yet. No spoilers.
I won't spoil anything.
So Isaac, this is my first time listening.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad
Lord of the Rings books.
Those are my favorite books of all time.
I got a tattoo of Anduril.
So you had to. You should
know a little bit about what's going on. So Tom Bombadil not being in.
Bombadil's a quintessential piece of that book, and it's a travesty that he wasn't in.
It is a travesty. Yeah.
So that's my snot.
I get it because like the movies without the extended editions are like still 3 hours long.
Yeah,
but
that's
still.
The point of
and
the
if you're watching
edition,
it with, if you're not watching exactly, if you're not watching the extended edition, what the hell are you doing?
Exactly.
Sure.
All right, my hots now. We'll start from the bottom, work our way up. Gunpla. If you don't know what Gunpla is, this is for the YouTube, but Gunpla is basically just making Gundam model kits. I bought a couple of them really cheap at a store nearby, and I built one, and I was like, why am I not doing this every single night? So Gunpla is now back in my life, and I have another thing to spend my money on. Gunpla, Gundam.
If you didn't have enough things to spend money on, now, just add that right on top.
Just some, like back in the day, I used to build Gunpla and Zoids and all that, like all the time. That's all I would spend my money on when I was younger, and I haven't done it in 16 years. And I made one the other day, and I took some pictures of it, and I'm like, this is my next thing. This is it. So that's back in my life. Sorry to my beautiful wife, Jessica. I made my hot or snot list a couple weeks ago when we were first going to do this episode. And I still think this one's true. The AI manga filter on TikTok is just a bunch of fun. If you haven't done this thing, go to TikTok, go to AI manga filter, and just video random things in your house and just see what they turn into. I turned into a chicken head. It's a great time. You don't have to post anything. Just do the video, see what happens. I think it's a ton of fun. It's in my hot.
Actually, Mark should do that on his old house and see how many ghosts are in his house.
That's terrifying. Let's not. My last hot is the video game High on Life. This is free on Xbox Game Pass. It is also now out on Xbox, Microsoft, if you just want to buy it. But I would suggest that you just buy it on Game Pass. I cloud stream it, so I don't even have to download it. But it's just so much fun. It's like a 12-hour campaign. If you like Rick and Morty or Family Guy or anything in that realm of stupid jokes, you will love this video game. It's an FPS shooter with just a bunch of random joke cameos and whatnot. Excellent video game. to sink 15 hours of your life into just to have a lot of fun. That's my hots.
Nice.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm going to keep mine Pokemon themed because I want to be different. No,
that's
I'm
so
going to start
different.
with my. I'm so different. I'm going to start with my
So
snot.
different.
I am. This is a mix. I'm thrilled that Ash is the world champion in the universe.
Yeah.
So we're doing a watch. My children and I, they're very into Pokemon right now, and so when my wife is gone for work, we will watch the original animated series. And so we're on season 2 right now of that, and it's just really great ride. The show still holds up, and it's really weird how many great morals are in this show as well. They do a great job of balancing morals and like treating people well. I really like that about Pokemon the original for little kids. So Ash winning this world championship, I haven't seen the episodes. I've just heard the news. I think it's great. I think it's an absolute travesty that Pokemon is moving on from that character. I think that character should just permanently be going from world to world. You've done it for 25 years. Why are we stopping now to change characters? So I'm going to snot that. I think it's a terrible decision by the Pokemon company, but it's not going to matter. They're still going to be pumping out Pokemon, no problem. So, but I'm going to go ahead and hot Pokemon Scarlet. I bought this game last week. I've been playing it this week and have been really impressed with it. I'll actually probably be streaming it starting mid-January again. So I'm excited about that.
Back. I love that.
I played Pokemon Arceus last year, beat that game, and just was absolutely amazed at the gameplay of Arceus and how you could do the open world concept and essentially run by a Pokemon and catch it and then keep going. I thought that was just so finally, where has this been? And Scarlet is finally starting to scratch that itch a little bit. It's not the same style, but it is the open world play. And it's not a perfect game by any stretch. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 6. The graphics and transitions are a little more wonky than things like Arceus.
I've heard they're terrible. I've heard the graphics are
terrible
like
is strong. That's
okay,
strong.
awful?
I would say there are moments where it's like, what's going on here? It's not all the time, if that makes sense, Robbie. It's like certain moments is how I'll say it.
Okay.
So it is not. It lacks consistency. That's the review I'll give it. So I like the concept. I like the idea that it's similar to kind of how Spider-Man that game works. How it's like you have 10 million different missions. You can choose the pace at which you want to go at and do what you want to do. And it shows you the map and it says, go do it. And that's different from previous Pokemon games where it's like, this is the map you've got to take. So I appreciate that. I appreciate how they're taking the things from Arceus and applying. I think there's still more to do for the next set of games. Scarlet is not a perfect game by any stretch. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 6 as of now. I'll report back, though, at the end of this, and that my rating may change. But I'm liking it. I started out with the grass cat, which I'm really excited about. I really liked that. I like cats, so that was really exciting. I'm not trying to be braggadocious about that, but that was a layup.
Though. You're taking
loves
grass, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't like that I'm starting with a grass type.
What are the other types? There's the grass cat. What else is there?
There's like this little red
Isn't there a
dinosaur
fire pig?
And
there's a little
fire pig. Yeah, he's a pig. And then a water duck. Quaxley.
You seem like a water duck guy to me.
I'll be honest with you. The water duck was tempting.
Anytime there's a cat involved,
I was going to say
is drawn to the cat.
Yep. So that's my hot or snot. I have some other things, but we're running low on showtime, so I would like to save them for another time. So, Robbie, thank you for swinging by today and joining the Infinity Bros podcast, and hopefully our new listeners enjoyed you.
I don't doubt that they did or did not.
Debatable.
That was a neutral answer. That didn't make any sense.
That's Robbie for you.
Here I am. Love you. Thanks for being here. Love the show. Glad that we got another podcast out. Can't wait to see people in our live show.
Stanley is next week. It's going to be live on Twitch. You're not going to want to miss it.
4 days.
January 6th, 2023, 9 p.m. Central.
Isaac will be there 9 p.m. Central, Twitch. Yeah, check that out. Yeah. Isaac, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks.
Thank you, Infinity Bros Universe, wherever you listened, however you listened. Thanks for making us part of your podcast experience. You can check out all the things we talked about in the links in the show notes. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Discord. using our link tree that's also located in the show notes. Everything's in the show notes. Just go to the show notes.
Yay.
Well, we will see you guys soon. As always, we love you guys 3000, and we'll see you soon. See ya. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Infinity Bros. Feel free to send listener feedback via email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.